Welcome back to Channel 199. It's day 34 of the Oscar Pistorius trial, and after 30 days of observation by a team of psychiatrists and psychologists, both professions agree Oscar Pistorius is mentally sound and that legally he is able to tell right from wrong, and particularly on the night of the events in question, he was in his full mental capacities. Joining me now is former Zimbabwean High Court Judge Chris Greenland. It's great to be chatting to you once again, Judge.
It's nice to see you again, Bongani.
I mean, that's, as I've just said there in my little introduction, that's what, after 30 days of observation, that's what it has all come down to, is that on the night in question, Oscar Pistorius at all times knew right from wrong, at least legally. Does that mean Dr. Forster's evidence about general anxiety disorder is irrelevant?
It would appear so, certainly at this stage of the trial, because at this stage of the trial, the court is concerned with guilt or innocence. And on that issue, the only issue was Oscar's reason for the shooting. The shooting and the identity of the shooter, the killer, was not an issue. It was the reason. So Dr. Forster had said that he suffered from general anxiety disorder and that this was a psychiatric condition. And she said that it may, I'm going to paraphrase, it may have had a role to play in the commission of the shooting. Now, in law, if it had a role to play in the commission of the shooting, it was only relevant if it excused his criminal liability. Otherwise, it was irrelevant. It could become relevant, and probably will become relevant, if he is ever convicted, because it could have a bearing on what is called diminished responsibility. In other words, because of this disorder and other factors like his physical challenges, his moral blameworthiness is not as high as a fully functional, able-bodied human being. So to answer your question, it seems to me that Dr. Forster's evidence was more or less irrelevant at this stage.
Well, I mean, explain then from a legal point of view, what is required criminal liability? What does that mean?
Just one second. At the same time, nobody is happier than I am that Dr. Forster was called. Because as I said previously, for the first time, because of her very good evidence, the right thing was done. Overdue as it was, Oscar was subjected to a very comprehensive examination. And we've now got the answer that the court, I think, should have been favored with much earlier. So can you repeat your question?
Well, what does required criminal liability mean in light of what you've just explained?
Can I explain it this way so that your viewers can understand the situation clearly? Firstly, I shoot you, knowing what I'm doing and knowing that it's wrong. No problem. I'm guilty of murder. That's the first scenario. Second scenario, I shoot you, not knowing what I'm doing and or not appreciating that it's wrong because of a psychiatric or mental condition or disorder, whatever you want to call it. That's what was being suggested here. That is what has been excluded by the psychiatric and psychological reports. So if I shoot you, not knowing what I'm doing and or not knowing that it's wrong, because of a mental condition, I am excused criminal liability. Can I go on? Then the third situation is where I shoot you. I know what I'm doing. I know that it's wrong, but I can't stop myself. Also because of the totality of factors, including my history and the situation that presents at the time. Road rage is the typical example. There, although it's not a psychiatric condition or a mental disorder, I could still be excused criminal responsibility on the basis of what is called automatism. That might be what Dr. Forster's evidence is relevant to. So I'm saying, Bongani, and I'm so bemused by this, this might be Oscar's defense, automatism. Then the fourth situation is where I shoot you. I know what I'm doing, and I shoot you because I genuinely believe that you're about to cause me serious injury or kill me, even though you're not, as has happened on the night in question. But I'm excused criminal liability because a reasonable person in my situation, and my situation includes my whole history, and in Oscar's case, includes the fact that he's disabled, etc., would have shot in those circumstances. That is called putative private defense. And that might be Oscar's defense here. So it's either automatism or it's putative private defense. Neither of these require mental disorder.
Well, it seems to be the theme that we were returning to today when we saw Dr. Fasveld speak quite at length about Oscar Pistorius's disability and how that, again, removes him in the sense of what you or I might do, he might do differently.
Yes, because if we imagine, and I'm sad to say that we still have to imagine what the defense is, that it's equivalent to road rage, which is automatism, then yes, you take into account all factors. That human being, as he presents as a human being on this planet, his disabilities, his challenges, and what occurred on the night in question. And you take that total picture, and the judge then says, or the court then says, on this total picture, did this person act without control? And was this automatism and therefore excusable?
Judge, as always, fascinating to hear your insights, and I'm sure you and I will continue to chat throughout the week, and we'll hear more from you as the trial unfolds.
Thank you, Bongani.
All right, Judge Chris Greenland will be with us again at 3 p.m. to review the full day's events in court. Court, of course, is due to resume shortly. We now cross back to John in Pretoria.